Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RMTV Women's Podcast. This is episode 125. Obviously, me and Amy here again today. Amy, how are we on this lovely Wednesday lunchtime?
I'm very well. The sun is shining again. It didn't just stay for a day. It's been here for a couple of days, which is absolutely fine by me.
Yeah.
The sun can come around mine anytime he wants. He or she. I'm not gender specificating. But yes, no, I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm alright. A bit hot. I've just said, please excuse the red cheeks.
Very hot. I'm kind of enjoying it because I went out and met my friend, like literally for the first time. I think she's the last person I've seen in the flesh that's not my family since I saw you in December. So I mean, that's
Really?
quite a long time. And I just felt like the sun, I was allowed out.
Yeah.
I feel replenished, refreshed, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have felt the same way. We needed that day yesterday, which was just like sun.
Yeah.
I'm all good. I feel good.
I think it's just the whole rule of six type thing now is giving everyone a little bit more of a boost. It's what was needed, and like you said, the sun being here, the nice weather has added to that. But yeah, we've got a few topics of discussion today. We'll kick it off with Liverpool's 1-1 draw with Blackburn Rovers on Sunday at Prenton Park. I think the only word I'd use to describe that game is probably just frustrating. I think they very much had the game plan to frustrate us in that match. You know, they definitely wanted to try and keep us on our toes at times as well. I mean, there was a couple of moments where I thought Blackburn probably could have taken the lead, especially towards the end of the match. They seemed to get a bit more fight in them, a bit more spirit in them in the second half. And they definitely caught us off guard at moments. What was obviously you did your post-match reaction on Sunday after the game, so you've kind of summed up your thoughts and feelings immediately after that. But upon reflection a couple of days later, do you feel the same? Would you add anything to that? Like how would you feel after that result?
I think the first thing, I think everyone will probably have felt the same, was, as you said, like frustration. I think that was the main thing, because especially after the form that we've been on recently, I think that was a game that was kind of ours for the taking, and also to sort of put things right from when they frustrated us last time and like earlier in the season. So there was no better time for us to play them, in fairness. But I just don't think the team fully clicked like they have in the last few games, which was kind of disappointing, because we've been on such a good run. But then I didn't realise this at the time, and I would have mentioned it in my post-match. But I mean, that's 5 unbeaten. So it's not all doom and gloom. We didn't lose the game, although it did kind of feel like we had, even though because it was a draw and there was so much still to play for. It kind of felt like we did sort of lose it. But if you think, when we got beaten by Durham and then beaten by Leicester and then have bounced back from that on this run of 5 unbeaten games, I mean, it's probably a little bit too late in terms of the whole promotion thing, which we've said before. But I think now it's just about building onto next season. And these games, although they're really frustrating, they're probably a bit of a learning curve as well, because you can then take that into training. How are you going to get around it next time, sort of thing? So it is all building for next season. So hopefully it's just another game that they can learn from, and then not play the same game next time. I think that's the main thing, really, from my view.
Yeah, I think obviously this is like the second game this season where Blackburn have really, really, frustrated us and sort of got the better of us at times. It seems to be like the style of Liverpool is to play ball at your feet in between, linking up play, whatever. And it seems to be that when it's a team that likes to do the long ball or anything like that, seems to sort of catch us out at times. It takes us a while to sort of get into the mindset of that's what's going to be the game for the 90 minutes. And I think Bo Kane summed it up well in her post-match that, they weren't given time in midfield to pick a pass or have a shot, or Blackburn very much pressing us really well, and sometimes it was 2-3 players on one of our players trying to put us under pressure. So I mean, credit to Blackburn, they played really well, and he stuck to the game plan for the 90 minutes, and he gave us a real good game. I don't think the weather conditions helped the team either. It was very,
a little bit bobbly as well.
Yeah, pitch was a bit bobbly, wasn't it? And it was just torrential rain for a long period of the game, so that's never nice conditions to play in. Depends on who you are as a player. I don't know, some people love it, some people hate it. Who knows? But yeah, I do want to highlight Bo Keynes though, because I think she deserves a mention, especially with her recent performances as well. Obviously being, one of the younger players in the team. I think she summed it up perfectly for herself in a post-match interview the other day, that the more games she plays, the better she's going to get. And I think in that midfield, it's very much a toss-up between Bo Keynes and Amy Rodgers of who gets, that starting position weekly. And at the minute, Bo Keynes is getting that, and I think she's taken the opportunity really well, isn't she? She's scoring, she's assisting, she's creating opportunities, and you couldn't really ask much more of one of your creative midfield players.
No, for sure. I think for me, she probably I really rate both of them, both Rodgers and Bo Keynes. But I think if I was to pick, in terms of maybe a bit more creativity and offer a little bit more going forward, I probably would choose Bo Keynes, because we have Jade Bailey in there who kind of plays a little bit like Rodgers, who can break down the play and sort of be a holding midfielder when needed. So you would probably edge her over it slightly. I think she's just playing with a lot of confidence. She's just been given full reign to go and sort of do a thing by Amber. So she's just playing so freely, and that's probably why we're seeing her doing so well. There's no pressure at the moment. That's the main thing. There is no pressure on getting the top spot. There's not too much pressure from behind anymore since we went on this run. So she's probably just playing as she likes, how she wants to, and it's obviously suiting her really well. I think Blackburn definitely targeted her to keep her quiet throughout that game. I think you didn't see her as much on the ball as you did against the likes of London Bees the last couple of games. So they've definitely targeted her, and she then needs to take that as, okay, so if they do target me, what am I going to do? Am I going to make runs to make space for other people or my other teammates, etc.? So she's just really, really good. Both Salah, as they say, incredible. And like, as you say, there can only be a good future there. Like, she's just going to keep learning and keep getting better. And the good thing for us is we already have her, and we don't have to go and get her. So in the future, she could be really huge for us.
Yeah, and I think especially with, obviously, you look at the last, 12 months, you've looked at Rachel Furness, you've looked at Emma Lawley, you've looked at the countless wins when she was involved with the squad. You've looked at those players and expected them to be the ones creating chances and opportunities. And now with Bo Keynes coming into the squad, sort of cementing, she cemented herself a place in the first team and in the squad. But like I said, it's going to be chop and change in that midfield, I think. But I wouldn't think Sunday, don't play Bo Keynes, because why wouldn't you at the moment, especially the form she's on? And I think she just offers just so much from set pieces as well. She's taking all the corners. She's got from free kicks. She's just creative, and that's what you want. So yeah, like you said, future's bright there.
Also, like, this team feels kind of refreshed, and that's maybe due to the injuries from players that you would have thought would start week in, week out. Obviously, Jess Clark's been injured for a while, which is another space to sort of negotiate. Obviously, Mel was out with an injury, Fernie was out with an injury, so that's given Bo Keynes these opportunities. Kerry Holland's come in. It's a completely different team than what started this season when you look at it. Obviously, Babaji's not involved anymore. That's another space that's been freed up for someone to go, okay, yeah, that's going to be my spot now. And that seems to sort of be what's happened with her. And it's worked out well for her, because she's just been allowed to just express herself on the pitch and not really feel like anyone's chasing her down. She's just sort of playing how she does. So that's probably another thing that's worked in her favour.
Yeah, she's got a really good head on her shoulders as well for someone who's so young. She knows that this isn't it for her now. Do you know what I mean? She knows what she needs to do to push on and move forward. So yeah, I mean, hopefully for many years to come, she's creating and scoring goals for Liverpool. We interviewed Kerry Holland, Amy, which was really fun, really good interview. It was great to speak to her. And we did a nice little quiz with it at the end, which will be out over the next couple of days as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But here's a clip from that interview with Kerry Holland.
What would you say initially sort of attracted you to sign for Liverpool? Obviously, is it somewhere that you've always dreamed of playing for? Obviously, the name Liverpool kind of says for itself the calibre of the club, but was that what sort of attracted you to sign?
Yeah, I think when Liverpool came along, it was kind of an opportunity that I couldn't turn down, and it's, you know, I thought it was a great place for me to kind of develop further as a player. And it was, you know, once I'd spoken to Amber, I think she gave a fantastic vibe, and I really enjoyed kind of talking to her and what she wanted to do in terms of seeing where I could develop as a player, and the kind of values that she has. I think I really like those. So yeah, no, it was one that I definitely couldn't turn down.
Yeah, obviously you've played, you know, quite a lot, spent a lot of time over in America playing in the college setup. How different was it playing football over there compared to playing football over here?
It's quite different in terms of it's a lot kind of, the game's quicker in terms of you've just got to be able to run and run and run. But I think over here it's a lot more technical and tactical, and I think that's kind of a bit of the game that I'm trying to work on again. And I think America was great in terms of I developed my athletic ability, and it was great for that. But I think in terms of, it's been a great kind of transition for me to come back here and learn kind of the technical side of the game again, which has been good.
Yeah, so really good to speak to Holland the other day. She was a great laugh. So yeah, thank you for joining us, Kerry. And hope you enjoy watching that as well. We'll leave the full link to that interview in the description below, or it'll be on the little info cards at the top as well. But staying on Liverpool theme, Rylee Foster has signed a new long-term contract with the club. When I say I was buzzing to read this, I was actually buzzing to read this. It's just nice, isn't it, that you've got a player tied down to a long-term deal. It's so fickle in the women's game now, and has been over recent seasons. You've seen it changing that, you know, a lot of players are only signed on one season deals because you never know what's going to happen. But, you know, it must be nice for the player as well to know that stability's there, that she's got that 3-year contract. She's, no matter what she's at a club for the next 3 years. But it's just great that she's sticking with us, really, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I really feel for Rylee, because it can't have been easy, the journey so far, because obviously coming in and then the pandemic hitting, and then she didn't get a league start until this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to even think. I mean, obviously she's played other games in like cup fixtures, etc. But I mean, it's not the same, is it? You wanna be cemented in this squad. I mean, it obviously helps. She's a massive lifelong Liverpool fan as well, and that's kind of like a nice narrative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel for her, but I guess this is just now the club committing to her, saying, look, yeah, I know that you've obviously not played as much as you would have wanted, but like, we're wanting you to stay here, and we will be giving you this game time whenever that might be. So it's nice on both ends, and like I love the fact it's a long-term thing. I mean, the rinse one was also a long term, and look how we're at in that situation. So I don't think it's going to be the same kind of vibe. But yeah, it's good. Especially, we don't know what's going to happen in the summer. We don't know who's going to leave. We don't know who's going to come in. But the more people we can tie down to these long-term deals, the sort of better. So we can actually keep the majority of the team together.
Yeah, and I think Rylee was always a long-term thing anyway. Obviously, she was fresh out of college when we signed her. So yeah, it was always a long-term thing, but now it is definitely a long-term thing that she is going to be here, and you know, she probably is going to be our number one come the next couple of seasons. She will integrate into that role. But then that almost makes you think, well, what's going to happen with Rachel Laws now?
Well,
What would you do in that situation? You've obviously got a really young, talented goalkeeper in Rylee, who is just pure heart and desire every game. But then Rachel Laws also offers you that, as well as experience, and
yeah.
is an experienced head in games and in the dressing room. So it's going to be hard to try and sort of pick one, really, isn't it?
I feel like, but then you sort of look to, like, if you look at Man City, for example, they have Ellie Roebuck, who's really young and up and coming, and then you have Karen Bardley, who's the other end of the spectrum. So they sort of make it work. And I mean, there's so much that the young players can learn off, like, so Rachel Laws, who's been in the women's game for God knows how many years for a few clubs, and obviously has that experience. So I think it would be nice to have. I don't know who's going to be number one. I don't know what's going to happen. I think this is obviously a bit of a sign that Rylee is going to be number one. When that is, I don't know. Whether it's the end of this season, whether it's next week, or whether it's in a few seasons, like, you don't know. But I think that was a statement of intent from Liverpool announcing that and getting that deal done, showing, yeah, you're going to be number one soon. It's just like a case of when that's going to happen. But I think for the time being, there's just so much that they can probably both learn off each other and both improve. So I think I look at it like that, regardless of whoever plays, they're obviously both still going to get game time. I think we want to learn to get further in cup competitions, because we always sort of falter in them. We want to be as competitive as possible. Like, if one of them gets injured, you've got someone who can come in. Obviously, Eleanor Heaps is within the squad on most match days, but I'm not too confident on how she would fare in the competitive situation. I don't know enough about her. So having two experienced goalkeepers in some form of actually playing a relatively high level is always an important thing to have. So who knows? If Rachel Laws goes, I'll be absolutely gutted. I don't think she will this season. But maybe she does get demoted to number two goalkeeper next season and is involved in just it depends how much game time she still wants. That's the thing, and what her desires are.
It's whether she wants to start slowing down or whether she wants to, you know, sort of end her career on a high and be a one goalkeeper. Everyone's different, aren't they? But reading the press release for Rylee's contract, it was interesting at the end. It was, they asked her about her ambitions and whatnot, and she said, "My goal is not only to be number one for Liverpool, but to bring what this club deserves, to be a Champions League club, to drive us towards number one and bring trophies to this club." And I just think that's just so exciting, especially reading that as a Liverpool fan, because you think of all the turmoil we've had in the last 2 seasons and what we've gone through. Obviously, we'll be spending next season in the Championship, but it's almost like this squad wants to hit reset and just be like, right, okay, we are where we are in this position right now. Let's end the season on a good note, on a high, and look ahead to next season and push for that promotion again. And the fact that, you know, she wants us to be back in the WSL, challenging for trophies and, you know, back as a Champions League club, like, how amazing would it be to be like, yeah, we've got a Champions League game next week? Like, that would just be so nice. So nice to say.
Yeah, it feels quite a long way away, but, you know, it's nice to sort of have that ambition, something to work towards, which is obviously clear that she's working towards it. So it makes the team work even harder, doesn't it? That would be incredible. Imagine us two going to Champions League away days. What a good time that would be. Let's just go to Barcelona. Do you know what I mean?
Go on, yeah, we'll get them. We'll go there. We'll cover that. Absolutely no worries. I'll be there.
Oh.
I know it'll be good though. But yeah, some really nice news to start our week Monday morning. Love that. We'll move on then. Just quickly, it has been announced today that Joe Montamaro will leave Arsenal as manager at the end of this season. We won't go into too much detail about it because we don't know the ins and outs of everything that goes on at Arsenal. But I'm kind of shocked, but kind of not shocked at the same time. I think maybe it feels like it's been coming, especially this season. But then it's also, who do Arsenal go and get now? Who do you get to replace him? It's hard to try and, especially Arsenal will be want to be challenging for that Champions League spot and to win the league again. They've had that relegate season and then dropped off, and Chelsea have sort of overtaken them. And it's kind of like, well, who do you go and get that's going to put you in that position without taking away from another club, if you get what I mean?
God, I have no idea. I'd be gutted if I was an Arsenal fan. I'd probably be an Arsenal player as well. Because I remember when I think we actually spoke. I don't think we spoke to him, but we was like in and around when there was that game at the Chester.
At Chester, yeah.
Arsenal, where we did really well, but obviously didn't win. Still gutted about that. Haven't let it go. But when you listen to him, like you listen, do you know what I mean? He's so like well spoken and like said literally all the right things. You're like, wow, that's so interesting. So he's a brilliant manager. I am kind of shocked, because I think he was the perfect fit for Arsenal and obviously did quite a lot for them. I think this season's been disappointing. Yeah. I mean, they were challenging for so long, and then I think just because Chelsea and City have just gotten so much better, and recruited so well, that maybe there were a few questions asked. I don't know, but that's. I hope he finds somewhere still in the WSL, because that's a massive loss for the English league if he leaves it entirely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the relationship we had with Arsenal as a club and players was really nice and really strong. Obviously, it hasn't gone so well this season. At times, that's just what happens. You know what I mean? Managers come and go, and players come and go, and whatnot. But I think Arsenal will be up there again next season. I don't think it'll do too much damage to them anyway. But we'll move on. And something that I seen it this morning, an article by Susie Rack on The Guardian, but that a Women's Club World Cup is being spoken about. So obviously we have the Men's Club World Cup. Liverpool were fortunate enough to win it a couple of seasons ago, which was lovely. But ECA Chief Executive Charlie Marshall says that a Women's Club World Cup could happen fairly soon, which is just so exciting for women's European football, really, isn't it? You want to have these cup competitions in the women's game in order to grow it, and I don't see a better time than now, especially with the way this season's Champions League has gone, to try and implement this from next season potentially onwards.
God, it'd be good. It'd be so good, wouldn't it? Like, I mean, we know as fans of the men's game as well, how exciting international and European like tournaments can be.
Yeah.
So to have that grow even more in the women's game would be really, really, really good, really cool, and open up wider that accessibility, especially when you take into consideration all of the new like Sky Sports deals, BT, like that's just another couple of fixtures that can be thrown onto the mainstream channels, which would do wonders for the women's game. I just don't know how it's going to happen, because we don't have a Europa League in the women's game. So, I mean, whether one gets created or what would be rather interesting.
Well, it's funny you say that, because there's a new strategy being put in place, which they've titled as "Be a Change Maker," that also sort of insists that a Europa League style competition may come into place too in the women's match. So what I'm thinking is Europa League comes into place from the Club World Cup's usually held in December time, isn't it? Whether that'll be the same, that's what it is in the men's game. Whether that'll be the same for the women's game, you'd assume it would be. Potentially Europa League comes in from next season onwards, and then the Club World Cup happens after that. So it's like the men's, where you have Champions League winner versus Europa League winner and whatnot. So I mean, that'll be interesting. It'll be a nice little mini tournament to have as well. That sort of.
Also, I guess then the framework then matches the men's that little bit closer. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
then it's everything proper and similar. It obviously won't be the same. There'll be probably less teams involved, but I mean, it gives more spread for more teams to become involved. Do you know what I mean? So it gives that goal for some clubs to sort of get towards that. So encourage some more leagues across Europe, encourage more teams across the world. So I can't see it as negative at all. I'm
No,
really excited about that.
and I think it'll open the world up to more women's teams as well, because obviously it's played like a little mini tournament.
Yeah. Imagine if they did like a double header. So they did like on the same day as the men's Club World Cup, they did like the women's a few hours before at the same like stadium, and they do like a double header. That would be quite fun.
Yeah, but it's obviously the Super Cup is when the Champions League win and the Europa League win and play. So that's like that tournament that maybe could happen, and then you obviously have the Club World Cup tournament that could happen, which is like a mini tournament as well. So, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't do it. I don't see why it hasn't been done either. I mean, obviously the Club World Cup's been going on in the men's game for like 2 decades now, if not more. Obviously you can understand that the women's match has always been a little bit behind, but it's just
But it's catching up. Now
it's catching up, and tournaments like this and things like this will boost it even more. Will bring the speed up even more as well. So there's nothing but good things coming to the women's game at the minute. It's really exciting. New TV deals, potential Club World Cups, Europa League. There's going to be so much football that we're going to have to keep on top of, Amy, that we're just going to be like, oh my God.
we need to clone ourselves.
We're going to be inundated with matches to watch, but the more football, the better.
Especially after we've had it absent for so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't even want to think about it.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below about a potential Club World Cup tournament happening. Your thoughts and opinions on any of the topics we have discussed in today's podcast as well.
1 to 10, how buzzing is everyone about Rylee Foster?
Yeah, I was like a solid 11 yesterday.
I was gassed.
Yeah, I just to like quickly touch back on that as well. It's not just her in potential of like football wise for the next couple of seasons. It's her personality and what she brings to the squad as well.
The proper hype woman.
Oh, like if you want a hype woman, it's Rylee Foster. I think we said this a few weeks ago.
We need to get a beverage with Rylee Foster at some point.
We do. A social distanced beverage would be the one. Rylee, hit us up. You know where we are. We're here. We're ready to go.
Well, she doesn't know where we are.
I don't know where we are, but you know.
Everyone go and tweet right now. I'm joking. Don't.
No, please don't. Please don't. We won't want to make a fool of ourselves more than we already have.
No.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. We'll leave any links to topics we've discussed in the section below. And like we said, go and check out the Kerry Holland interview that we did this week. And also go and check the Vicky Jepson interview out if you haven't already seen that too. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you all next time with a new video. Bye.